This video might be quite sensitive to many people, and this could be a very controversial topic that I'm talking about. But today I really want to talk about my struggles and my journey in taking criticism. I think as a human, and as many of us are, we are very social creatures. And we belong in something like a group. We belong in our social group, in our communities, in our school, in our workplace. These are the places that we feel truly accepted, and these are the places that we truly want to be a part of. However, when someone gives tough criticism, when someone says perhaps things that you don't want to hear, you feel isolated. You feel like everyone's against you, right? You feel like everyone's talking behind your back and there's no way to turn the situation around. And, because we are social creatures, that is completely normal. A lot of us struggle to take criticism. A lot of us, including me, struggle to take any criticism. I feel like when I was younger, when I was a young child, I had a lot of authority figures watching over me, such as my parents, my teachers, the coaches that I had, the friends that I made. A lot of the times I felt subjected to their harsh words because, they all want the best for me. And what do they think is the best way to treat a young child who they want to get the best out of is to use tough words, and they want me to toughen up and they want me to step up to the challenge to conquer this obstacle. I think the best example to illustrate the story would be when I was playing football. When I was younger, I was a very talented football player. I was a wing. I was really fast. I was really agile. I knew how to dribble. And, everything was going great. I was the star of the team. I was literally the best player in my school. But that was when I was 9 years old, I went to an academy to play for a team called Juventus. It was not the actual Juventus. It was Juventus China. But when I was there, I faced a lot of criticism from my coach. He expected very highly of me because I was the star player of the team. He expected me to dictate the tempo. He expected me to make runs. He expected me to make dribbles. And having that much pressure and having such a oppressive coach was very tormenting on my part. It was very difficult from my experience as a young child who wants to play football very well. I remember being very scared of him. Every time I turned up to training, I didn't want to. I didn't even want to play the game that really shaped me because I was afraid of his tough words. And I think that really grew on me. The fact that he screamed at me every single training session. The fact that he was also rumored to have abused children on the football field. And I feel like lots of us have a similar experience in life. Authority figures, when we were young, used very tough words and left a scar in our brains. And what happened from there? Well, I was a left wing. I was very fast. I was very agile. My best season, when I was 8 years old, I scored 20 goals in 16 games. That is an outrageous goal per game ratio. But as I stepped into the Juve Academy, I was still a good player. I was really, really good, and I was really stand out as well. But in the matches, I'd completely lost confidence because I was supposed to be the player who was carrying the team forward. I was supposed to be the player banging goals. And taking such burden of having such criticism in my direction broke me. I didn't want to be the talisman of the team. I couldn't be the talisman of my team. So what do? Obviously, I still had to play football. I was a very talented player, as I previously said. But I decided to switch to left back, where obviously there's less pressure for you to score. And I would say it was one of the least pressured positions on the pitch because, you're not a centre back. You're not being tall. You're not trying to be physically imposing. As a left back, I was allowed to do what I wanted. But still, I did not play at my best. Oftentimes, my best quality was my dribbling. But I wouldn't dribble because I was scared that I would get tackled against. So what do? I would make a pass. That's the only thing I used to do. Just pass, play, pass, play, pass, play. It was very detrimental on my development because I was so scared. I played in the academy for 3 years. And after that, I quit football for 2 because I was scared. And how do we move on from those kind of experiences? How do we move forward as a person to take criticism? I felt like this kind of shadow took over me for many, many years. Until now, I feel like I never saw the light at the end of the tunnel. I'm sure all of us saw many videos, many self-improvement books, everything online tells you that taking constructive criticism is the way to improve your character and is the way to really target the skills that you want to, ameliorate. But that kind of wishy-washy thinking never got to me until the start of this year, I think. The start of this year, I finally realized that I can't be the best at everything. And there's no point thinking that I was the best at everything. And that feeling of not thinking myself as the best of everything took the burden off my back. I was no longer subjected to making big performances, whether academically, whether in sport, whether in helping other people. Because I didn't subject myself to my own criticism in a way. I figured out that I was, instead of other people, of course the coach did a lot of downplaying on his part and really went hard on me. I feel like the person who truly destroyed my self-esteem was myself. Because when other people pressured me from the outside, I pressured myself from the inside. As a famous quote goes, if you want to rebel from inside the system. I completely destroyed my system inside. I was getting headaches. I was getting sore throats. I was getting stomach aches before the games. A lot of the times I was even scared to go outside because I had social anxiety, and I was subjecting myself with such pressure to actually communicate with other people, the basic human right. And it's very tough, I think. It's very tough realizing that, find the person who freed myself from those shackles was myself. I was the person who truly handcuffed myself, obviously from outside influence, but I was the person influencing myself from the inside. And I think that was a very critical moment in my life. It was a very big turning point. And that's when I started asking people. I started asking people about everything. That was the moment about a year ago when I started opening up to my teachers. I started being like, hey, I realize this is something I'm not good at. How can you help me? And to my surprise, a lot of the time they actually listen. Teachers actually listen because they like to talk about the subjects. They like students who like to learn, who like to improve. And they gave me so much attention, they gave me so much love, and they showed me so much respect for what I did that I realized, why was I holding back? And I figured a lot of the times I can also look towards my peers as well. A lot of my peers are really smart at subjects such as math, chemistry, physics that I'm really not good at. And I try really hard right now to ask them questions, to be like, hey, I don't know how to do this. I think it's humility as well in this scenario. It's very important that we have humility. It's very important that we lower ourselves down because, we are not God himself. We are not brilliant in many aspects of life. We are not perfect. And once realizing that I was not perfect, the floodgates opened. And I feel like it's still tough to take criticism. It's very tough when people tell you criticism without even asking, right? How do you respond in that scenario? If someone just tells you, hey, you're very bad at something, what do you do? I think basing off of recent examples, I think the thing you should really do, and I am really trying to do, is not to fight back, is not to defend myself. Oh, no, I didn't do that. But I tried to think about it. I tried to think about it in a neutral perspective. If I was a third-party person, would I think the same? Would I agree with my opponent? Would I agree with the person subjecting myself with such rough words? And I figure a lot of times, maybe they're right? I'm not perfect. There's no point in using my perspective to tackle the issue because my perspective is obviously opinionated. So that's how I got through it, I think. It's just really to agree with them. There's no better thing than to agree with your opposition. Hey, maybe you're right. Maybe you are. That's the last thing they expect you to say, but that's why you say it. Because if they're trying to be someone against you, why don't you make them your friend? Why don't you treat them with the same love and respect that God treats you? That's what I try to do. And I hope that throughout my experience, I'm improving myself, and I can also help you realize stuff about your own body that you may previously not have thought about. I really think that this video is going to help you. Thanks so much for watching. Love you so much.